I think we're now live. Good morning, everyone. This is episode 211. The usual disclaimer, this is the raw version of the show with all the flubs, etc. left intact. If you want the heavily edited version, where I make us sound a little bit smarter, because I take out all the mistakes, you can listen to the MP3, which is available on our RSS feed and Stitcher and iTunes and all those places you can find podcasts. Our guest today will be introduced by Chill, but you will recognise Ivalon, and that is Swotor Ista.
Hi.
Hey there.
Right.
Okay, my Audacity's going.
Ahead, yes.
Hey,
Yes, Lord
Chill
Force
and
Chuckle.
Chill.
Cameras are strictly optional to our guests, so
Sorry,
Yeah.
you're gonna see my
It's
pretty
fine.
face.
get
Yeah.
mine instead.
Just,
Giggle.
yeah, window.
Theo, just so you know, it's possible that I live in a place where it likes to thunder and lightning a bit, a lot. So if I disappear, that's why. I will try to
okay.
reappear. Yeah.
I feel your pain here in spring. It happens very, very often.
I
Or at
wish
least
I
it did
could-
before climate change screwed everything up, so
No.
now who the hell knows?
Australia's probably preferable to the good old American economy right now.
Oh, I wouldn't go that far,
Okay.
They're heavily mining dependent. So.
sadly, yes.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to turn off notifications so you guys don't think that those are your notifications.
Okay. All right, we should be starting shortly. I've sorted out the tips of the week. Squadrista, you've got a good seal on your headphones?
Yeah, I just use earbuds, so we're good.
Yeah, okay. Awesome. And we have
You getting
something
any echo?
from Giant Gina, our friend Ben. So that'll be for next week's show.
Okay.
Thank you, Ben.
All right, everything's rolling.
Okay. Okay, both chats are going. Got it, Ben. Thank you. Show notes. Yeah, all right. Anything else before we dive in? I think we're good.
I think we're good.
All right.
Ready?
Ready.
Ready?
All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're all recording. Chill. You are recording. I will be recording.
I am recording. I always
Rolling.
like to double check that. Yeah,
Yeah, me too.
it looks good too. So, actually, get this out of the way. All right. I'll go in 5. Hi, and welcome to the OotiniCast. Mind tricks don't work on me, only on money. This is episode 211, being recorded on Wednesday, June 24th, 2015. I'm your host, Chill, with our producer and co-host, Tio. Hi, Tio.
Hey, guys.
Yeah, and that's a little congratulations to our making of the documentary finish line there the other week. So there you go. And our guests today are the ever-fashionable Swotorista. Hi, Swotorista.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, very excited to have you on. And Ivalon, the music man from a few
Hey,
episodes
guys.
back. How
What's
you doing,
going
Ivalon?
on? Doing good here. Thanks for having me back.
Great. Swotorista, so what have you been doing in-game lately? And also just in general, you know, with the community.
I finally got another crack at hard mode Master and Blaster. For anyone who's not done this one yet, it's a giant robot and a little robot. In story mode, he's got a knockback. In hard mode, he's got a knockback that spans about half the galaxy, and I've been having such a rough time with it, but it's such a fun fight to learn. And I also got a chance to pug my first Imperial op, and that was fun. Pugs are always interesting. This one was actually
Yes.
pretty good. I was excited to see that they were able to finish the op. We didn't have too many troubles, and I was able to tank on my Sorcerer. Not my most favorite thing, but it was fun to do another op.
Nice.
Are you tanking in your hard mode?
Oh, definitely. I don't do anything else. DPS is I get not distracted. The opposite of distracted. I start falling asleep trying to do my rotation, and healing is just I'm so scared I'm
Yeah.
gonna kill everyone. I can't do it. Other than that, I've just been decorating our flagship. We've recently expanded a bit more. You get those encryptions from the commanders and from doing your conquests, and we did a big fundraiser where our crafting officer said, hey, if you guys put 7.5 mil in the guild bank, I will match it credit for credit. So we had enough to unlock 3 more rooms, and we just don't have enough hooks to fill it up now.
Nice.
The really big news for me recently has been the server transfers, which we'll get into later, but our guild specifically is on a very small, quiet server, so we're having a huge discussions and talks and information gathering, trying to find out whether we should move or not.
Right. Right. Well, that's excellent. You're actually ahead of us in hard modes, that's for sure. So
Well and truly, yeah.
a few bosses.
How far have you got in Ravagers? That is
Hi.
Ravagers, isn't it? Sorry, how far have you got in Temple of Sacrifice?
I am not on the usual progression, but I believe they've gotten past Underlurker. No, they've gotten, what's the next one after with the really boring group of,
Right, whatever they're
Commanders.
called.
yeah,
Commanders, right.
they say funny things. That's about all I remember about them.
Alright, cool. Very nice.
Awesome. All right, Evelyn, how about you? What have you been up to the last couple of weeks since we had you on?
Yes, well, Teresa, I identify with that because I was this is kind of my wannabe raiding update. As a pretty bad casual raider, got invited by an old friend to a pug for Temple of Sacrifice. Got all excited, got my stuff all set up, getting ready to zone in, and then within 10 minutes, 2 people bailed to make a sandwich. The ops leader, I gotta go make a sandwich. The ops leader disconnected, right? And then I disconnected for a 3-hour internet downtime that I wasn't expecting, and it was like total fail. I went from extreme excitement, like, yeah, pug, that's gonna work, right? Nope, wrong. So that's usually my experience with pugs. Oh God.
We've been having a lot of discussions about that make a sandwich thing. Well, not go make a sandwich, but I need to go make a sandwich. We've been trying to figure out if we're trying to be hardcore, casual. Like, is this sandwich making acceptable? Because it's driving everybody crazy.
No, you're out of the ops team. No sandwiches. Right. I think it's actually code. It must be some kind of innuendo. I don't know exactly what it means, but quote unquote, gotta make a sandwich. I don't know what, it means something. So they literally said that. So I don't know. Maybe I was being trolled. In real life, a real life update, I got a chance to arrange Britney Spears' "Toxic" for a drumline, which is really hilarious. So just imagine, I spent my whole week sampling Britney Spears, which is so funny and awesome and amazing. That was a cool job. So basically, SWTOR is like my 100% procrastination. And when Knights of the Fallen Empire was announced a couple weeks back, whatever it was, week and a half ago, I went into full-on procrastination mode, dude. I was on Reddit like all day one day, reading all that. Not only reading all of Reddit, SWTOR, right, subreddit, but apparently I needed to read like all the comments, and speculation. It's a problem. Wow. Extreme procrastination. So, but it was really fun, and it was nice to see the way they leaked out the trailer. I thought the way they leaked, they kept putting out one frame at a time, and it was really exciting. I thought they did a great job with that. I think though, to kind of the next thing, of course, Turg was here last week, and I was right with you guys. He was being a realist about what to expect, and I was right with you two. I was like, no. The way they worded it, it sounded like, yeah, there's going to be 8 class stories, and I'm sure we'll talk about this later. I really feel like the website was a little bit misleading. That first website we all got to see that was kind of
I
leaked.
thought the same thing.
Yeah.
You think so? Yeah, it was. We should read it again, but it literally made you think that all 8 stories are being told, and everybody seemed to think that. Turg was. I actually really appreciate now what he did because, as he said many times, I'm just trying to be a realist, and turns out he was totally right, which is a bummer. But I'm sure we'll talk about that. I'm excited about the companion content. That was my number one request, really, other than raids, I guess. The companion stories are going to continue. That's so cool. I went to the fleet today to get my free temple chairs. Zing, zing, zing. That cool sound it makes when you bind like 50 chairs at once. And
Nice.
I laughed because there was a horde of people spending a suspiciously long, a bit of lingering around that vendor, longer than it would take to buy 50. Maybe a little selling back of the 50. Couldn't quite.
We'll
but there
get
was
to
a
that
lot of-
later in Chairgate.
Okay. Yes. Perfect. Yeah, I'll skip that. But anyways, pretty funny. And then I did not participate. Just want you to know. And then crafting wise, I do implants, right? And I noticed now that level 50 and level 55 are really just levels you pass by, pretty much. Used to be that level 49 and 50, 54, 55, whatever, implants were like worthless, and now they're actually worth something because they're just like the 25s. They're like something you pass through, and you've got to buy one, for your companion. So little tip out there: go back and re-engineer the 49s, the 52s. Do that with earpieces and everything. Now people actually buy them. Not a lot, but more than they used to.
Sure.
That's my week. I guess I've got this music thing. Tio, should I read this off or?
Yes, you should.
Sorry. ... Oh yeah. Also, regarding music, in the trailer, the score in the new trailer is brand new music. It's of the synthetic/sampled variety. It's not a live orchestra, but it is a very well done mock-up using samples. Very good. Much better, I would say, than what we heard in GSF or in the actual game, expansion-wise, or trailers. I would say the music in this new trailer is much better. In terms of MIDI mock-up sampling, it is probably the best fake orchestra they've had yet in any content. So the closest you can get to having the real thing, but still not the real thing.
Right.
Obviously, they're willing to drop some coin on the audio here. Obviously, they boosted their audio budget in addition to their visual budget in order to hire Blur, and they had to. Sure. Thankfully, they knew they had to match that, or get close to matching that with the music. And I do think the music comes close to the quality of the visual, maybe not quite. We do get a snippet of what I would call, I theorize, is a new theme, maybe, at 2 minutes 24 seconds in the trailer. It's a cool little brass thing. It could very well be a new Knights of the Fallen Empire theme, or it could evolve into a theme. More of a theme than I've heard in any of the expansions at all, really. And a cool little motif we might be hearing more of, hopefully. One more thing, I heard a cool, what I would call an audio Easter egg at 1 minute 28 seconds in the trailer. It's a very recognizable piece of sound design from the original game, Vanilla SWTOR. Everyone should know this. Go to 128 in the trailer and listen for a sound and let us know what that sound is. I'd like to know how many people recognize it.
It sounds kind of like sparkle, 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 sparkle.
Ooh, yeah, it's like audio sparkle powder. Yes. All right, so that's my week.
All right. Dio, how about your week?
Talk about raiding for starters. We did raid both days. We had most of the original team on our first day, so we did hard mode, and we were just working on Sword Squadron, sadly. So we took down Malafar relatively easily, and then we're working on Sword Squadron. We really seem to have not got back to where we were. Sword Squadron was going really well. It's just a matter, as always, of execution, in that we pretty much know all the mechanics and can dance around them, and now it's a matter of getting out the DPS while still doing the dance.
Right.
So this week we should be back in there again with most of the team. On our second day, Turg was out, so we had to switch people around a bit, and we did a quick story mode run of Temple of Sacrifice to get some gear just to fill out some set pieces for people, and then we did some more hard mode stuff in Ravagers. Didn't get too far there. Once again, Bulo is... We thought we had him on farm, but it's just... don't know what's going wrong there. I think once we get our complete normal group, we'll be fine.
You require more alcohol, more beer.
Or wine. Yeah. Now, aside from that, speaking of wine, Ari and I were doing the droid reconnaissance mission. We're just continuing with that. This is outside rating, of course. And I've also been leveling my sniper, but that's pretty much all I've managed this week as well. So... yeah, that's pretty much it. Anyway, how about you, Chell?
All right. First, a shout out to the chat room. Ari is here. Cap Slapshot 27, Dark Edge Gaming, Darth Brundlefly, Force Chuckle, Fionha, Giant G or Giant Gina, Incipient, Katiara, Materrex, Sotorisa is here, Zamzam, Dekion, Dux, Gahana, Helion, Evelon, Jazzy Cat, K_Hansen, Palace, Shamar, and Trig. And on the Twitch stream, Diggity82, Hyperobject, Sapphire31, and Tankadin Aliyah. Hello, everyone. All right, well, besides the operations, did some streaming, got my Whispers of the Forest character partway through Rishi, only a couple levels to go, so really close. I might ding 60 before Yavin. I'm like right before you do the first flashpoint and the class mission, the class side mission. So, and only a couple levels to go. So even before I hit Yavin, might hit 60. We'll see. Doesn't matter, actually. It'll be quick. Of course, I would have gotten a little further, but the crazy Monday maintenance stopped that. So, which, yeah. And then I also realized that my phone had set itself to a weird not checking the emails automatically, because I then changed the settings and it's like, oh, okay, I've got a lot of emails about this. So, yeah. So, really enjoyed it. I'm not sure what I'm going to be doing normal stream-wise after this character's leveled, but I have some ideas, and we'll try to get that sorted out fairly soon. All right. That will bring us to the tip of the week. We got 4 tips this week. I'll start us off with one from Dekion. Are you worried that others are talking behind your back in the casino on Nar Shaddaa? Are you wondering why everyone scatters when you start playing your favorite machine? Through meditation with the Force and this tip of the week, you will find the answers you seek. Dismiss your companion when you're playing so they aren't climbing all over nearby slot machines.
That is a good tip. All right.
I forgot to mention, I did spend a little time in the casino this week. 500K, but I did get the second Rancor.
Oh,
What?
congratulations.
For 500K?
That's not bad.
That's really good, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes,
He did.
but I was there to try to get a slot machine to blow up, because that's the only achievement I'm still missing. It's like, blow up. Oh, cool,
Oh,
Rancor.
wow.
Rancor.
Another Rancor.
No, it wasn't exactly like that, but it was funny how Rancor.
All right, our second tip is from Arias. He says, my name is Arias, and I used to tank in PvP on my Guardian on Jungma. I don't actually play at the moment with too many daily obligations. I know how you feel. But I rely on your top class podcast to get my SWOTOR fix. Tanking in PvP is incredibly difficult due to many factors, including subtle but profound differences in mechanics that tanks also rely on in PvE, namely taunts and guard. Guard will provide 5% mitigation to the ally it is applied to, and when the guard target is within 15 meters of the tank, 50% of the damage the guard target takes will be directed to the tank instead. The damage transfer mechanism only applies in PvP.
That's true.
So, yeah, in PvE you only get the mitigation and that's it. No damage transfer. So he goes on, taunts will mitigate damage and enemy deals to all allies except the tank who casts the taunt. The mitigation from taunt will of course reduce the damage that the tank takes from guard's damage transfer. There are 3 outcomes after using a single target taunt. What he calls a fail taunt, applying taunt to an enemy who is attacking you. This wastes the cooldown entirely. A weak taunt, applying taunt to a healer or any DPS not attacking your guard target. While you still provide mitigation, you have failed to stack the taunt's mitigation with guard mechanics, gimping that taunt's effectiveness. And finally, a strong taunt, or doing it right, applying taunt to an enemy who is attacking your guard target. This is the ideal and goal of all good tanks. Stacking the guard and taunt is a goal of PvP tanking. Also, using focus target to help track the health of a healer allows you to only need to monitor 6 health bars in your operation frames. Making the target of target visible in your UI is crucial to ensure you are applying strong taunts. Taking a half second to check the target of target right before the taunt comes up will allow you to keep your taunt constantly on cooldown. Don't wait to use taunt at just the right time. Use it on cooldown and check that target of target. Keep within 15 meters of guard target at all times, and you are on your way to becoming a legend. I love your show and keep the war rooms coming. Thank you, Arias. Good. Excellent coverage.
Wow,
Yeah,
thank you for those tips, Arias. That, as someone who's an awful tank, wow, that was all like new information for me. Oh boy.
All right, third tip.
Less.
Third tip from Keom of the Jungma server. When you're viewing your galaxy map on your starship, you can hold the right mouse button and rotate the maps. No zooming, but it still looks really cool. And also, it does. It's also completely useless. It doesn't actually help you at all. But it's just kind of fun. And a second tip, Alacrity affects the channel time of node gathering. I know a lot of people have tunes with 3 gathering crew skills to gather resources to sell in the GTN. If this is something you do a lot, you could make a max Alacrity set of gear with augments and enhancements to improve the efficiency of your farming.
Cool idea.
And with your outfit designer, you don't have to look like arse when you do that. So
That's true.
It's great.
Unless that's your goal, which is
Well, yes.
looking like ass.
All right. Our last tip is from Bulaklak of the Dark Templar Order on the Shadowlands.
Sure.
If you find yourself in need of some quick credits, just head on over to Ziost to pick up the Looking for Signs daily and start looking out for droids. These droids can drop around 4 to 9,000 credits for golds and around 10 to 19,000 for the champs. As long as you give yourself a nice long route to take, you can run around and farm them, and in less than an hour, make around 300,000 plus credits.
Wow.
Just remember to reset your daily each time you get the 4 missions. Happy hunting! Now, this isn't an exploit, is it? I read through it and thought, no, it's legitimate. You're doing the work, so...
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. Very nice.
They just drop a lot, huh?
Yeah.
Nice. Okay. Well, by a random allotment, the winner is number 3, Keom from Jungma. Congratulations, you're the winner of a Tonfon or M8 3R droid pet code, courtesy of BioWare, and a new OotiniCast provided cartel market pack from the latest shipment. If you'd like a chance to win the same, please send your tips to OotiniCast@gmail.com by next Tuesday. And that will bring us to the holofeed. Tio?
All right, we'll start with the obvious. Game Update 3.2.2 was deployed on Tuesday. We only sort of got a hint that would be happening late last week. We were wondering, and there's now only 4 weeks until 3.3, which is coming on 21 July. So anyway, Game Update 3.2.2 is here. It's only bug fixes, because as we knew, there wouldn't be any new actual content coming. The only unusual thing about it was the length of the maintenance.
Yes.
I was late tweeting out about it, and when I had to look pretty carefully, it was 12 hours set up for it. It's going to start at, 8 p.m. Pacific time, which is very early. They actually had to extend it by a couple of hours, so overall it was like 14 hours. When you look at what they changed, as we'll go through, there was nothing really that indicates what they were doing.
They were getting more hamsters for Harbinger.
Yeah.
That could actually be true. It could have been a hardware upgrade, because that is usually what would take a large amount of time when they're actually swapping in new servers and that have been re-imaged, and they've got to make sure everything is right. Or they could have been doing some heavy-duty cleanup of the database. Who knows? But whatever it is, it took a long time.
Right.
Or setting this up for server merges.
Maybe. Kevin says, I hope they have some back-end server stuff planned. I've had lag issues since they added Oricon. Operations of Flashpoints aren't fun with lag. That's true. That is true. There were those glitches earlier on after Shadow of Revan came out, but they've smoothed out. I haven't seen anything like that, those freezes that we used to get. It's actually been pretty smooth since.
Right. That seems to happen sometimes with expansions and so on. There'll be like a period of time where they're still working out certain lag kinks and so on that sort of smooth out gradually then until almost unnoticeably until they're completely gone.
And Swoto Miner said, I hope they are switching the database server's deflector screens to double front because they are about to take a lot of flack. He is alluding, I believe, to the character transfers, which we'll be talking about later. So anyway, back to 3.2.2. In the patch notes, they mentioned that Bounty Contract Week is back. It's back for the usual week. So if you're into that kind of thing, and I keep meaning to do it, and I never get around to it, but it'll be back in a month.
Been trying to get those pets for my pet collection, but I need something crazy like 50-something tickets.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
You know, I've got to say, I think it's probably one of the easiest events to farm. Once you get the rhythm down, if you feel like, and it kind of becomes fun. believe it or not, to kind of because you start to make progress, and then before you know it, you're like maxed on champion or whatever legend.
All right, so let's go quickly through the patch notes. The Narshadar Nightlife achievements. If you were missing some, it looks like some had slipped through because they just before 3.2.1 they had actually, and the event came back, they had actually restored all the ones that were missing. They had missed some. They should all now be restored. So if you go into achievements and you see there are some you pretty sure you have had and they're not there, you should put in a ticket because as far as they're concerned, they're done. It's all good.
Okay.
There were a few other bug fixes. Apparently legacy lockboxes could cause character transfers to just fail. That's a bit sad. Now they have finally fixed the heroic moment to correctly receive a reduced cooldown from unlocked legacy companion unlocks for, apparently this was only the Sith Warrior where it was still broken. I thought that was on every class, but maybe it was just Sith Warriors. Don't know. But anyway, they fixed it for them at least. And a couple of other glitches. Oh, including in Colossal Monolith, the rift in the northwest corner of the fractured tract is no longer active. Now, that's a bit indirect, but I believe that's the one that you can't, if they do, when you do the Simon Says with the four colours, it's like the red one or whatever is on the far side, and if it's on that particular rift where it comes up, there's just no physical way for the player who's grabbed that colour to get onto it without stepping onto another one and insta-dying. So if they just disable that particular rift, then that part of the fight should...
Thank goodness.
Yeah, because that was just nasty. Let's see. Oh, in items and economy, they did actually raise the Warzone commendation limit as of right now per character. Instead of 2750 Warzone comms, it is now 200,000.
Woohoo!
Wow.
Yes. So
That is
I
cool.
have so many decorations.
if you've been hoarding PvP weapons, now is the time to sell them back and just build up your comms. Now, you can't move them between characters yet. That will be coming in 3.3 when you get the boxes of the various amounts, 100, 500 and 1,000. But at least you can start stockpiling a Warzone comms.
You know, it's confirmed. You know you're a Care Bear when you hear the two words Warzone comms, and the first thing you think about is your stronghold decorations. 'Cause that's exactly what I thought too. So Teresa, you're not alone. I was like, decos. God help me. There's PvPers out there right now yelling at their iPhone. You know.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I promise I have my basic gear, and I promise I don't go in ranked. You're fine.
Now would be a terrible time to buy the rank gear anyway, so
I
why
know.
not spend them on decos?
Yeah, that's it. Thank you.
JB says, a little cynically, Bioware probably saw that no one was doing PvP due to potential loss in comms when 3.3 hits. A good reason why they don't release info early. Maybe, and actually probably absolutely true. Now is a good reason to do Warzone comms. Do a Warzone so you can actually start stockpiling. Ready for the cheaper gear. Just don't buy anything yet. Just earn the comms. And don't do ranked until after 3.3. Unless you've got the rank gear. Another change, the Fountain Jedi Temple decoration can no longer be heard throughout the stronghold it is placed in. Now, you may remember Kuze was complaining about this, saying there was no way to actually reduce its sound. So anyway, it's fixed. It will only be localized, as it should have been all along.
That's
so
funny.
Anyway, that was it for Game Update 3.2.2. Remember, Game Update 3.3 is in 1 month. So all those class changes are coming then. Now, they did do one other thing with 3.2.2. On the vendor, who's up in the Kator Bazaar area on both fleets, they added in the temple chair basic bracket, onto the Estran Exports vendor for 1 credit, as they said they would do because they advertised it being in the pack in the preview or whatever, and it turned out it didn't turn up in that particular pack. And so, as usual, just in case you bought the pack just for that basic temple chair, they're giving it away for free effectively. However, unfortunately, if you sell it back to the vendor, you'll get 100 credits. So you buy for 1, you get 100 back. That's actually quite a nice profit if you're going to do it. But this is a classic example of a exploit, as was very quickly pointed out by BioWare before anyone in the community actually started advertising, as far as we know. And they put a warning onto the launcher. If you try and log in now, the launcher will say, don't do this. And yeah. And there have been several posts about it. So if you actually do utilize this exploit by buying shares and selling them back, BioWare have made it very clear that it is a violation of the terms of service, and you will be suspended. They're handing out 7 days suspensions at the moment, and if you keep doing it, that is the minimum. They will give you more penalties. They're going to take credits and items away. They are tracking who you're moving your credits to between accounts or whatever. And if you do it too much, they'll ban you. So,
yep.
It's
And
rather
we did see. Oh, sorry. I believe today on Reddit we did see somebody posting their email that they received, and it was a 7-day ban. I don't know if that's what everybody's getting, but apparently one user at least got a 7-day suspension.
The latest post about it said that is what they're handing out right now if they find anyone who's utilizing this. So, I don't know why anyone would push it. They've gone out of their way to make it really clear that this is not a good thing, and yet people are still doing it. So, well, sucks to be you, really. I mean,
Apparently, a lot of people are trying it just to push the boundaries. They don't play often, or they don't care too much about their account, and they'll be like, let's see how many credits I can make in an hour. And some people are also trying to be clever, like taking the credits and then buying stuff off the GTN from their actual accounts and just buying the chairs on like a junk account, trying to push all the limits that they can find. And I guess we'll see how many BioWare finds, and later on people will brag about the ones they don't.
Probably.
Yeah, that makes sense, but
There's definitely a lot, like I was joking about earlier, there's definitely a lot of people in there still standing around that vendor. So
I was so looking forward to that. When I saw the exploit, I was like, there's going to be a bunch of people buying chairs around the vendor. And I was like, I'm going to get my chair, and I'm going to get my screenshot taker out, and I'm going to take a picture and shame them and make fun of them. There was nobody there. I was the only one.
well.
I'll do it for you. I'll send it to you. Yeah,
thank you.
Server. Harbinger was hilarious. It was like, yeah. Mostly, I guess they're probably like credit spammers. I have no idea.
Probably.
Oh, yeah, possibly. I don't understand the mindset myself, but anyway, yeah. So, final warning: just don't buy your 50 that you can get for your character, and that's it.
Buy a whole bunch, actually, because you can get 50 or guild, and they also are not bound. So later on, you should be able to sell them to other people when they come off of the vendor, which they eventually will, because they usually take down the 1 credit ones, and you can give them to buddies after they expire.
Yeah.
Yes, that is a great tip, because do you guys remember the Voss Republic banner that was...
Those were bound, I think, though.
Maybe I know that I saw some on the market. Oh, they must have been the real ones on the market that were very expensive. Okay. The real ones are expensive now. Got it.
All right, now let's move on to the PTS. Game Update 3.3 is still there, unless they've suddenly taken it down, as they want to do. They did the PvP 3-day focused events where they encouraged people to turn up, and a bunch of people did. And Musco, as he said he would, posted up 8 names of the people who participated the most in the most war zones. And everyone who did play at least 10 war zones across those 3 days received 450 cartel coins. So congratulations, that's not bad. Just for helping out BioWare test the changes. And congratulations to Snave for the most matches played, 45.
Very nice.
Very impressive.
Nerd.
Yes. Now, also from the PTS, they have done the last round, it would appear, of changes before Game Update 3.3 goes live. I won't go through them in detail. What I think we'll do is wait until we get the final set for 3.3 in those patch notes, and we'll go through it then in detail. But yeah, it looks like they're finally pretty much settled down. And they also have decided that the AoE change that we're going to introduce for PvP, where AoE damage would break a cast, would where AoE damage would not stop you from capping, doing a cast that would cap or plant a bomb or defuse a bomb, they have decided they are not going to go through with that. They did, apparently from the testing, they determined that it was simply not avoiding the stalemate situations that they were hope it would. It didn't appear to make that much difference. So it's once 3.3 goes live, it'll be the same way it is now. AoE damage will continue to be able to interrupt those casts just as it does now. So, oh well, that's why they do testing though. They've got to try these things out. And so, yeah, thank you to everyone who participated, just to help them come to that decision. Also on the PTS, they have decided that they got a little crazy when they were increasing the number of hooks in the Tatooine stronghold. Now, remember, people wanted more hooks so they can put in more decos because it's far too easy to max out. But the problem was, if you had already maxed out and you were at 100% for that particular stronghold in terms of your conquest bonus, adding all these hooks meant you suddenly had to stick a whole lot more decos in. So anyway, they were going to be adjusting the hook count to 900. There was initially 1100. So anyway, let's see how that goes. And they're still working on flagship hook counts. Anyone got a Swadarista, what is it now for Tatooine? What is the hook count? Do you know?
I do believe it's 700 or 900. Not sure which.
Okay.
It's a lot higher than it was before.
Okay.
I can see why they apparently want to balance this, right, between conquestors and decorators. But to me, when Strongholds first came out, like everybody else, I went and spammed wall decorations and reached 100% right away. It was easy to do. Whereas decorators take a long time and care and to try to make the rooms look really cool. Swatarista is an expert at this. And why it doesn't seem to me like they need to balance these two. It should be in favor of the decorators, because all the conquest people have to do is throw up another 100 wall decorations, done forever.
That's true.
Or done until next time. So I don't know. At first I was like, oh yeah, it should be a balance, and I was like, wait a minute, no it shouldn't. It's clear that it should be for decorating. But I'm saying this as somebody who got frustrated recently by, like really doing my Nar Shaddaa, like the highest quality that I could, and then having a whole room that's empty, and I just decided to just leave it empty because I just need another, 50 hooks.
So yeah.
It's a
Cap's
bummer.
got it. Cap's got it in chat. It's 500 currently in Tatooine, so they upped it a lot.
To 900, yeah. That's impressive.
Wow, that's great. But they're not doing that with any other strongholds, right? Just Tatooine.
Why, I'm not sure, because like even I have a Droman Cost pet house, so I've got tons of the little tiny hooks built, but there's still like the whole balcony has to be empty in a couple other rooms just so there's enough hooks for the little pets.
That's a bummer. It's a bummer because, you'll go to somebody who has like the highest prestige on the server, obviously, or whatever. You go into their stronghold, and it's usually not the best decorated because it's more just spam, or it's there's two rooms empty, or it's I don't think it's what they intended.
Must go spraying decos all over the walls. Yeah.
Right.
All right. Let's move on. Season 5 rewards for ranked PvP have been finalized. They've given us the breakdowns of the bronze, silver, and gold tiers. Bronze tier requires at least 1,000 rating, personal rating or group rating, and maxes out at 1349. Silver tier, 1350 to 1599, and this time gold is 1600 plus rating to get the gold rewards. The gold reward includes the gladiatorial Nexu mount, etc. I'll link to the post. The population doing ranked PvP is fairly stabilized or smaller than it was, etc. So if you're interested, did anyone manage to get to any of these tiers?
Ha.
Yeah.
Nope.
I don't think I did a single match.
Not just.
Yeah, same.
I haven't, and I was doing too much leveling this time.
I got scared away from ranked. As soon as I learned that I can affect other people's rating by being bad, I didn't want to do it anymore.
Exactly. I wouldn't want to. It sounds fun, but I wouldn't want to ruin it for everybody else.
Well, I'll be interested to hear how the War Room guys did, because I don't know how Turg in particular did. But anyway. All right, now we mentioned already in the show the character transfer thing. What we were coming up to was that starting whilst as of now, as of Tuesday, the transfers have been discounted to 90 cartel coins. Normally they cost 600. So it's quite a discount. 90 cartel coins each for character transfers. Now, this is going to last a while. It's part of the lead up to Knights of the Fallen Empire, which is coming late October. And yeah, they will give us at least a couple of weeks' notice before they're going to switch it back. So you don't have to do it straight away, and you will get plenty of warning. But yeah, it's fantastic. Now, we had some comments from the community. Aimlock on our forum said, "Can't tell you how happy this makes me," about the transfers. Joe Foreign from Casual Core Radio, which he does with Drew Galdarian, says, "Legacy level 50 on every server." You could definitely do that. All you have to do is transfer one from your current server, just do each server, and your legacy goes with it and takes your everything with it, including your legacy level. Cameron says, "I'm very curious about how the cheap server transfers will play out. Where will PvPers end up?" Gary says, "Does this mean everyone transfers to Jedi Covenant? Because that would be amazing. They would have to make mega servers then, right?" And Kuze says, "Too bad we can't get everyone playing SWTOR to move to one server. I wonder how BioWare would react."
More hamsters.
Yeah, and
Definitely.
and to add to that, yeah, there was definitely hopefully someone can tell me what the outcome was. There was a strong straw poll on Reddit. What server would everybody move to if they could, or what PvP players would be willing to move to X server? And it was like between the Harbinger. All the servers are available, but of course it was between the Harbinger and I forget what the second one was.
It was posted also on the SWTOR official forums in the ranked area, and it was generally agreed, from what I've seen, that even if you voted for something else, you would go to the actual server. That was the majority, and the majority server by a pretty good punch was Shadowlands.
That's right.
Okay, on the East Coast? Or is this everyone would go regardless of where they are geographically?
I don't know, just the original, both everybody was what I heard.
Do you think everyone's going to follow through on that? Is that really going to happen? People going to start moving?
I think so, actually, because especially for some of the servers, ranked PvP rarely or barely pops, or it's a real struggle to get it going. So just knowing that there's a server out there that people are going to be moving towards, even if it's only like 5 people, that might be 5 more people than your server has to start with. For example, Jungma. Right. Jungma actually had a pretty good turnout yesterday. There's apparently about 5 teams queuing this morning as well. But apart from that, unless people are coordinating, there's no group ranked going on.
Right. Yeah, okay.
So isn't this the solution? It's like if we just spread the word that anybody who wants to PvP, transfer one character, whatever, or your favorite PvP character over to Shadowlands. Everyone just starts doing it, and you can still have your main server. Just hop onto that server for PvP. I don't know. Sounds like it's our own cross server. Better than cross server.
If the server can handle it, because as we know, the Harbinger, one of the most populated servers, has been having issues. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. But is this a prelude to free character transfers at some point, or the mega server merger? Who knows? Probably not. Yeah. This seems to, well, you could come up with all kinds of conspiracy theories, but...
Yeah. I was starting to think that way, but just the fact that it's temporary and that the price is going to go back. I think if the mega servers or whatever, or something like it was on the horizon, they would lower the price and then just keep it there.
Yeah, that's probably true. Now, SWTOR Miner did a public service announcement on Twitter. Saved outfits don't transfer with your character. If you do a character transfer, any of your outfits are gone. I assume the slots remain unlocked, but any outfits you set up don't go across, and that includes, of course, any associated stamped dies on any of the items in those slots. So it sounds like they're just wiped. You transfer across, and all your outfits gone. That's kind of terrible. So be aware of that. So if you want the items, if you want those looks, you'll at least have to have kept those items in your cargo bay. So and you'll have to recreate them manually, or at least somehow record what they were, so you can recreate them if you do transfer. And Swoderisto, you also came up with some a list of stuff for guilds and stronghold guilds, for guilds specifically.
Like I mentioned, we're looking to maybe see if we should move or not, and I did a bunch of research, and one of the things I found out is if you want to move your entire guild to a different server, you will lose your flagship. You cannot transfer your guild itself, you cannot transfer your guild bank, you cannot transfer your guild flagship,
Right.
and you will not be able to take all your flagship room unlocks or your guild decorations with you.
Wow.
Ooh. Yeah, the decorations especially, yeah, and the unlocks too.
All
Boy,
of it. Unlocks.
I understand. I guess I understand what's going on. It's because a guild is not attached to any particular
Correct.
person's account. But it's too bad that you can't figure
It's
out a way
really
to do
rough.
that.
It's rough on our decisions right now.
Right.
Any other of these you want to point out in terms of... I'll link to Sweaterista's post.
Yeah, one of the other things, that's what you can't take. You can't take your actual guild. Anything attached to your character, you probably can. But to your guild, it has to stay behind. But you can always leave a character behind and cross your fingers and hope we might actually have guild transfers later and be able to bring it over at a different time. But we have heard nothing about that at all. And the other thing I was looking into was, if you want to bring your whole guild over and you've decided that you don't mind leaving your flagship behind, how can you get your guildmates over who might not have the money to be able to transfer their characters? And this goes for anybody who just has friends on the server as well. It doesn't have to be in the guild, just a buddy who wants to come with you to another server but can't afford it or can't buy cartel coins. So one of the awesome ways that I found out is that you guys might know, but you have the achievements you can gain cartel coins through, and there's a list on Dolphy. If you Google Dolphy cartel coin achievements, there's a specific
Right.
list of which ones give you coins, and they give you about 20 or 40, around there each. So you can definitely easily gain enough to at least transfer one character over with the 90 cartel coins. And you can also do that once per server. So if you guys want to bring all your characters over, as long as you're willing to do a bit of work on every server, create a character, do the leveling or flashpoints, and then delete it, you'll have your cartel coins good to go.
Right. A lot of that comes with low-level first-time character leveling sort of stuff. So yeah, interesting.
Thanks
Now-
for that post, Sweaterista. That is very cool.
It is. Palace in chat points out that everything in your legacy storage cargo bay does actually move across with the transfer, so that much works.
Your legacy bank?
Yes.
So it's something about the guild system that is because the guild system possibly is
Oh,
like
it
part
stays
of
on
another
the
game.
old server. Sorry. Your legacy
Whereas
bank
maybe-
doesn't come.
Oh, it stays. Is that what he said?
I thought
Your personal legacy bank shouldn't it?
it should, absolutely should.
Just the guild bank should not.
Your legacy bank is tied to your legacy, which is on the server. So
Oh,
your
Christ,
personal
yeah.
bank, your green one, will come with you if you transfer, but the yellow bank that's shared will be stayed behind. If you want to bring the stuff in it, you have to take it out of the yellow bank and put it in your inventory or in your green bank.
I see.
Shouldn't
That makes
those
sense.
unlocks move with you?
The
though?
unlocks
I
might,
guess,
but the items won't.
but the contents won't. Got you.
Right,
Yeah,
because
okay.
then there's no way for the game to tell which character, like if you're doing several character transfers, which character should end up getting those
Yeah,
items.
That does make sense.
It also
Um,
seems like some of the older systems, like Legacy, was like what 1.2, and of course Guild was somewhere around there too. It's almost like the older team, the older systems are the ones that they're not able to update with the newer systems that maybe
Yeah.
do transfer. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure what they would do with the legacy bank, because if
You
you've got
kinda want
legacy
it to
already
stay.
unlocked over there, it's got stuff in it.
Because
Legacy
what if you're
Bank is in this system?
transferring? If you're transferring only one or two of your characters and you are leaving the other ones behind, you don't want to take all of their
Absolutely
stuff by
true.
accident too.
And also, Giant Gina in chat was asking, if you transfer, do you need a free character slot on the destination server? And yes, you do. One doesn't open up, so you do have to have a free slot before you can transfer.
Decion's
well,
got
let's-
a really good suggestion as well. If you're looking for more cartel coins, Decion says download the security app and set a security key for the monthly 100 cartel coins. And they recently released the Winoth one as well.
That's a perfect segue into our next story, in fact. So I did want to mention that. We did mention that last week as well. Winorth, you can use that. We had a message from Cole, who's just pointed out. We had a message from John, who plays Yixel on Beggar and Colony, And he just pointed out that the authenticators that work with SWOTOR support the TOTP protocol, which is time-based, one-time password algorithm, and rather than OAuth. Now, OAuth was what someone pointed out in Reddit, and if I'd actually thought about it for more than 2 seconds, I would have realized, yeah, he's right. It's not OAuth, it's just TOTP. Anyway, tech crap aside, WinAuth will work. Google Authenticator does work, as we talked about previously. All of them do. We also discovered that the Google Authenticator for Android on the newer devices has been updated and will now safely install. Now, we had a question from Cole. He asked if there's any benefit, short or long term, to switching to the Google Authenticator app over the SWOTOR security key. And the simple answer is, well, no, not really. I mean, they all do exactly the same thing. The only advantage of the Google Authenticator that I can think of is you can have it set up with multiple accounts. So you can do one for SWOTOR and Google Authenticator, but you can also use it to authenticate your Google account, for example, or anything else that uses it. Or you could again use one of the other generic ones. But as far as we can tell, the security key is just yet another one that supports TOTP. So it just doesn't matter. You still can access a security key vendor. You can still get your 100 cartel coins a month regardless of which one you use. The important part is that you've secured your account with two-factor authentication using that authenticator.
So TO, I'll just represent those who have never done this but should. What do you recommend? Which one is the simplest, best to use?
If you don't use these things for anything else, I just use the SWOTOR one. It's probably the simplest. Yeah, I'm still using Google Authenticator one just because. Well, the only other advantage of that is, even though it's only a 6-digit number you have to copy across, with a Google Authenticator you can actually copy it onto your clipboard on your phone, which is great if you're logging into your account on your phone. But if you've got a shared clipboard set up between your phone and your computer, you can just paste in the password. It's 6 digits.
It's 6
And it's
digits.
every time you log in.
If you've got a really terrible short-term memory, then
Is it every time you log in, or just when you log in on a new device or a wiped device? Or something?
Every time you log in. Unlike the one-time password, it is every time. So it is a little bit of a pain, but if you're using WinAuth, I believe that should just run on your PC, so you can just have it right there. But you do have to do it every time. All right, that's regular news. Let's talk community. Thanks to our latest Utini patrons, Jeraine, Kevin, and Orion's Belt. So we're now officially over $100 per episode.
Thank you, guys.
Ari, who is our director and producer of the documentary, the Utini documentary, has started work. So she has some really good plans for how that's going to turn out. So it'll be worth waiting for.
Cool.
No promises on when it will turn up, but it is in production. Now we're thinking of our next milestone goal for some amount over 100. Something that came to mind was another documentary on how we make OotiniCast and just general advice for people to, if they want to do their own podcast. We'll explain how we do it and just a few other things around that. Whether that's a milestone goal or we just do it anyway, to be determined. If anyone's interested in that, let me know. That may just be a little... It may be a little too specialised. And Blacklock says, congratulations on reaching your goal on Patreon. I'm hoping the origin story for OotiniCast doesn't start with, we all awaken from carbonite. Nice.
Don't we all? It's not the best way to start many stories, is it?
Just keep it canon.
Indeed. A couple of other thanks. Thank you to Master Lou for his iTunes review, and also thanks to the Reddit SWOTOR's community for upvoting episode 210, where we covered Knights of the Fallen Empire. I really do appreciate it because that does bring the show to people's attention. So thank you. Thank you. And that's the news.
All right, that brings us to the force feedback, where we read out your tweets and emails. And chat room, if you have any questions to ask, we'll be gathering them to answer once we're done with the feedback. So let's start with some feedback from Evelyn's music discussion back in episode 208, which we've held on to purposely for this reason.
Ah.
Dunadai wrote, fantastic show with Ivalon. Yes, I'm behind on my podcast. I'll be using the tips in my new compositions.
Nice. And make sure you
Nice.
link those for us so we can hear your stuff, man.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. Descartes wrote, love the music. It's been a huge part of this game for me. Brilliant discussion with Ivalon. Professional outlook on it is really interesting. You're making me want to queue up a John Williams playlist. Korriban is the one I love. Very evocative of Sith musical themes in other stuff. But I sometimes pop Heroic Moment for the music.
Cool.
I got to comment on that really quick. That actually bothers me because you'll get to something like the end of a chapter and there's a boss that you're a little bit under level for, and sometimes there's special music, okay,
Right.
for that boss, and you're like, awesome, oh cool, I'm dying, but I'm gonna hit my heroic moment and I'm gonna win this. You hit the heroic moment and guess what? The special music is replaced with the heroic moment music that you've heard a million times. Which so for me, it's a bummer. Just saying.
Right. Well, you might have to use Unity instead.
Yes, you're right. I guess so, but if I did that, I would die and I would never get past it. Yeah, constantly under level, so. Sigh.
Let's see. And you actually wrote back to Descartes. Did you want to read it or shall I?
Oh, I'm not there. I'm lagging on the
Oh, okay.
document.
Didn't he just cover that?
Yeah, it pretty much covers it. Let's just, it's about the same thing. So yeah,
Oh,
we'll
I see.
move on.
Oh, no,
Uh,
I'm sorry. I do want to say that.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, the other thing about that when he posted that is that you guys have to do this. I recently rolled, I don't know, it was my Inquisitor, no, Imperial Agent, and I'm on Hutta, and I loaded onto Hutta. Okay, like, and I logged into the game, went right into my Imperial Agent, it loaded me onto Hutta, and the load music for Hutta is, like, really good. It's crazy, it's dissonant, it's actually scary, and a really incredible queue. I highly recommend you all go check it out again.
All right, Hudda, awesome. Let's see. Weakness wrote, just listened to OotiniCast 208. Really appreciated the soundtrack discussion. I listened to, and there's a link to a TG Network Battle-Bards link for similar. The hosts don't have the insider know-how that Ivalon brought to the discussion, but it was still a fun listen.
Okay.
Awesome. Thoromus wrote, really enjoyed the Ivalon talking music on OotiniCast, by the way. I all kinds of adore SWTOR's soundtrack. One of my favorites is from 8 minutes 30 seconds to the end and then there's a link. He's wondering if it's the Tython theme, and it reminds me of, and he has another YouTube link.
Yeah, that cue is interesting because it's part of a long piece of music. Like he said, it starts at near the end of the piece, but it turned. I think it was the kind of thing where they wrote the piece before the game was done, and then after Tython was done, they inserted part of that cue as the some Tython zone music, and it's really cool. But it's weird because when you listen to the track, all of a sudden at the end of the track, boom, Tython music comes out. So it doesn't have a name, like I forget what it's called, but it's not as if it was originally intended necessarily to be the Tython theme, as I recall.
Oh, cool. I'll check that out. Awesome. Let's see. Raz wrote, OMG, the music that plays when Alderaan is loading is my absolute favorite in the game. The reason Alderaan is my favorite planet is because of the music. The music gets me emotionally involved in the planetary story arc. That's why Alderaan is my favorite part of the Consular story, I think. The Consular story is my favorite, but music is a very big deal for me, and it can often change my entire perception of an event. Like the music that plays when Yoda dies, or the music that plays when Vader and Luke battle the final time. Those moments are much more emotionally intense for me because of the music.
Oh, I love the Alderaan music. There's something very different about it compared to all of the other planetary music. There's an instrument that they use. I don't know what it's called. It sounds like a twinkly kind of string instrument. Do you recognize that one, Ivalon?
Oh, I wish I could hear exactly what you're talking about. I mean, I've heard it like you guys so many times. I know we hear Ney flute, but I might be thinking about a different planet. I'll have to check on that, and maybe you can tell me exactly which part of the queue, and I'll tell you what instrument it is.
Cool.
We talked with Chill about the Chillest, but that was a different planet, wasn't it, Chill? I think that might have been Voss or something. One other thing about
Or was it Manon because of the rain?
Yeah, you're right. It was Manon, the Celeste, and the raindrops. But Sotarista, let me know. I'll find out which piece you're talking about, and we'll get back to that. Another thing about Alderaan, Raz mentions the consular story, and I thought that was so cool because, the consular story gets a lot of hate, but he's exactly right that Alderaan and the consular kind of work together because of the diplomacy aspect of the consular story, and because of that, I totally agree. My main is a consular, a sage healer, so the first time I experienced Alderaan was while playing through that consular story, and he's absolutely right. The music sets up the kind of the gorgeous vibe for the planet, but also that diplomacy and kind of deep storytelling. It's just a great cue.
Awesome. All right. Let's see. Shintar wrote, really enjoyed the latest OotiniCast feature about the game's music. Extremely interesting. Nepthan also wrote, your SWTOR music talk on OotiniCast was really interesting. Enjoyed it a ton. A lot of people love that, as did I. Fredius wrote, great show, guys. I have to appreciate the challenge of writing lyrics in Huttese. And there's another YouTube link. It reminds me of the opening song to Temple of Doom, another John Williams score.
Oh, yeah. Love that. The best. Molaram, Sugaram. Sorry, just a little singing from Temple of Doom there.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I'm trying to remember which Huttese songs there are, but the one that comes to mind is like the Cantina song.
Yeah, there's one of the Cantina songs.
I can't remember exactly what it's called.
Right.
The only one with words.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
It's one of the only ones with words, if not the only one, yeah.
Now, in the game, we only hear an instrumental version, right? Or is the one with words in the game?
It's in there somewhere.
Is it really? It's so funny.
I'd have to check. It should be, if it's going to be anywhere, it should be like one of the ones you choose from the jukebox for 100 credits.
I was like, woo,
yes.
very beautiful singing.
It's one of those Sice Noodle sort of singer
Nicely
sounds.
done. And all that has a great heritage to it because of course John Williams had to write the original Jabba's Palace song, which is the Sice Noodle, the original Sice Noodles, and of course he wrote Yub Nub. Let's not forget about Yub Nub. Okay,
I like Yub Nub.
I love me some Yub Nub. Are you kidding me?
Yeah. So I miss Yub Nub when I see the newer version.
So the guys who did the Cantina music for the game, they did a great job because it really does call back some of that. And I want to emphasize, if you like John Williams, you need to go watch Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom because it's right along the same lines of like the really borderline cheesy singing in the background of your crazy evil chant.
Cool. And don't forget that the nightclub is Club Obi-Wan. So.
That's right. Yeah. It's a little Easter egg.
All right. Reese wrote, hey, guys, wanted to point out one more piece of trivia. Alexander Desplat, the forthcoming composer for the Star Wars Rogue One film, has worked in the wake of John Williams' efforts on a film series. Desplat was the composer for the 2 Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows films. John Williams originated the music in the Harry Potter series with the first 2 films of that series. Now, I'm not particularly familiar with Desplat's work, but it does show that he can work on the senior composer's themes without people raking him over the coals for making massive departures. Hopefully Desplat can continue with Williams' legacy while at the same time making some noteworthy contributions of his own.
Yeah, Reese, thank you. That's very well said. And the Deathly Hallows, the 2 scores he did for Harry Potter are really good scores. One time I had to do a feature film, an indie film, where the whole thing was temp tracked with Alexander Desplat, and that means that the director of this indie feature loved his music so much, so the whole thing was striped with Desplat. So my job was to replace that. This happens to a lot of people. Your job is to evoke another composer without copying him. So I had a chance to study what he does, and it is very similar to. It's a really similar approach, a very classical/romantic approach that John Williams used. So again, like I said a couple weeks ago, he's totally perfect choice to do this. It's going to be great.
Awesome. Excellent. All right. And now on to this week's feedback. Force Chuckle wrote, I will always mention potential faction mergers, if only to get a rise out of Turg.
Turg is so serious. But anyway.
I want to say add to that real quick. You know, there was the comment that why are people talking about faction merges? And I don't know if you guys noticed this, but that's because when everything was leaking about Knights of the Fallen Empire, one of the leaks was a link. You guys might have seen this, a link to one of the new pages on the SWTOR website, which was something / Fallen Empire / dual faction. The term dual faction appeared as a URL on SWTOR's website. And people, that had been mined or whatever. I don't know if mining is the right word, but that had been leaked as one of the many links before it was actually released. So the term dual faction was being discussed on Reddit, and people started getting excited because they thought that might have been a feature of Knights of the Fallen Empire, was some kind of dual faction option, and that's why people were upset later when it was not announced.
Right.
I got excited about that too. I shouldn't have though. I was like, maybe.
Yeah.
Oh, same here. Along those same lines, this is a good chance to point out too, real quick, I looked up that page that we all read that was leaked or came out early, and the way they said the thing about the 8 stories was this. They said exactly this, if I can find it. Play 1 of 8 class stories, enhanced to offer a deeper, more accessible experience, purely focused on immersing you in a personal Star Wars story. Now we know that they were talking about the original 8 stories, but to release that as part of an expansion announcement to your existing player base,
right,
it's like totally misleading. Just saying.
Yes.
Yep.
They clearly designed this for people who, I guess, this was designed for people who never played the game or something.
Yep. Pretty much.
Yeah. All right. Jetty Cracker wrote, love the latest OotiniCast on the expansion, but Tio, rep grinding is not optional. That's what the O and OCD stands for.
Yeah, we'll have to see how that plays out, but I think he's right. If there's a bar to fill up, we will fill it up.
Kranatoko, the pack opening videos and so on, wrote, just goes to show how much of a casual player I am on SWTOR. My main, Kranatoko, is /played only 30 days, 9 hours, and 20 minutes, or 729 hours. Frowny face. Because he wasn't.
He was leveling while making videos, and so that did kind of slow him down a little bit.
Maybe so. Oofalong says, I took the /played SWTOR challenge. I've sunk in just over 180 days across 18 tunes. That's 14% of my time since launch. That's a lot of time.
4,320 hours, yes.
Yeah. And Alex wrote, 128 days on my night alone. Whew.
3,000 hours. Whoa. Yep.
On one character. Ludwig wrote, finally did the /played challenge. Did the original server merges reset the time played?
Possibly. Who knows?
I wouldn't have thought so, because that would actually come across with your character. Just give us a sec, because he actually did include... let me just stick it in the doc. That's a screenshot he provided, just so you can give... I'll include that in the show notes as well, just so you can see the breakdown. He used a spreadsheet as well. Now, as far as them resetting, no, I wouldn't have thought so, because that should be an intrinsic part of the character and should move across. But if anyone can confirm or deny that, please let us know. Does your /played go with you when you transfer?
He should probably also do a /played on how long he spent making the spreadsheet.
Spreadsheets are fun. Anyway.
John of the Progenitor, along the same lines, wrote, so after listening to the /played discussion in episode 210, I decided to do a little analysis of my own playtime. I've been playing the game since launch, and so, at the time of this writing, I've been playing for a total of 1,282 days. I am a bit of an alcoholic. I have 28 level 60s across 3 servers. That's a lot. And the total of my /played for these is 7,761 hours. That's just an average of just over 6 hours per day.
Wow.
You win, John. You win.
Yeah. That is some serious heavy play.
Damn. Yep.
Breaking it down by faction class, advanced class, and role. 79.8% Republic. And so heavy
He's a good
Republic
guy.
bias. Yeah. Pretty
Job.
balanced among the roles. 34.4% healer, 39.1% tank, and 26.5% damage.
Mm-hmm.
So a little light on the damage, I would say, but overall quite balanced.
Very.
And let's see, he tanked to 2.0 and then did a mix after that. And then hours played by class, and then there is a bit of a change from here. It's not completely balanced. Heaviest is the Knight at 32.5%. A couple of 17% with the Consular and the Smuggler. 12% for the Trooper, and then the Empire, because he's more Republic than Empire, are all pretty minor.
Yeah.
So Warrior and Inquisitor being the two that he seemed to enjoy the most.
Hey, someone's gonna
like-
upset all those agents out there.
Yeah, I like chill, enjoy the leveling, and I guess you can guess which my favorite story is. Well, with the Knight at 32.5%, that's what I'm gonna guess.
Mostly on his Guardian. He's barely played his Sentinel at all.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a
He's
huge
broken it
difference
down by
there.
advanced class hours as well.
He did
So-
not like that sniper one bit.
Yeah, sniper, he gave up.
Wow. Barely played at all. Yeah.
No lightsaber, man. I guess.
Yeah, really digging the Guardian though.
He
Clearly
didn't like
main.
Sentinel's armor orders. Wow.
I'm curious how his activity breakdown is. Like, what is he spending all this time doing? Is it leveling? Is it raiding? Is it just standing around, chilling out, socializing, questing, whatever?
That'd be interesting. And there's no way to tell because the game doesn't track that. It's sad.
And we all know that Tio is a busy man and that he'd love to be able to do this for his own characters, but doesn't have the time, so help is at hand. I have attached a handy little spreadsheet, so all you have to do is log on to your characters, note down the /played, and enter the numbers, and poof! Just like magic, you get the nice pretty graphs.
Incredible.
Do you have that available, Tio? Because that might be a good way for me to do.
I
do it
will
as
link
well.
his spreadsheet for everyone, so anyone who wants to can do this, and I will do it myself for the next show.
All right, then I'll have to make sure I do that too.
John.
Keep up. Thank you. And Shamar of the Old Republic Dads Guild on the Shadowlands, in reference to the discussion last week on publicly shaming exploiters or hackers. I am not opposed to public methods of deterrence as long as they are done correctly. I think a great punishment for those caught exploiting or hacking in SWTOR is to turn all their characters into Gungans and nerf their abilities by 10 levels.
That'd be great. That'd be great.
I think if you do the one, then the second one comes automatically. I think this is a much more effective public shaming technique than having the character commit suicide. Instead of deleting the account, lock the IP address into this account so they have no choice but to play their Gungan characters. No need to create a new playable race in order to do this. It can be easily managed using the character customization options. Anyone who sees a
Genius.
Gungan running around on fleet will know the shameful acts that person has committed. It will serve as an example for all.
But we
Another
all
option-
know that everybody would want their Gungan, so you know it would backfire.
Oh,
Exploit to be a Gungan.
First level 60 Gungan on the server. Yeah. Other options to increase the fun of this particular public shaming include flag all Gungan characters for PvP, make them targetable by both factions. Who wouldn't want to kill any Gungan on sight? Being griefed by every other player on SWTOR also makes for a fitting punishment. Byron, I hope you're listening to this, and let the public shaming commence. That's
Genius.
funny. All right, Tadra wrote, I was wanting to hear your thoughts on the bug with the animated armor
oh
effects.
crap. We didn't get to this. I'll have to skip this because we didn't.
Okay.
Mm.
Would
didn't
you like
watch it.
me to just talk about it right
Oh,
after that?
yes.
I know about it.
Yes. Yes, please. Let me just bring it back. All right, Chill. Read it again, and then Sweaterista can cover it.
Sure. Tadra wrote, I was wanting to hear your all thoughts on the bug with the animated armor effects. If you don't know what I'm referring to, you can read about it here. And best of luck to Tio and Chill in your efforts to kill the Colossal Monolith in hard mode.
Yeah, we'll be waiting on that one. But anyway.
Sweaterista, you have some thoughts on this?
Yeah, so this was a really interesting bug. In one of the most recent cartel packs, they released some fairly unique items. And when you equip them, when you draw your weapon, when you take your weapon out, your lightsaber or your blaster, they have an animation effect. So there's one that makes your eyes glow and one that makes lightning sparkle all around your armor. Now, there was a really fantastic bug that happened, and it had to do with using the outfit customization just the right way. And you could apply the effect to any armor you wanted. So you could be wearing your bikini and have the lightning around you, or be wearing your trooper helmet and have the eyes glow. And people were using this and really excited about it, and Delphi has some gifs of how it looked. It looked really, really cool. And it didn't look like a bug. Like, it looks like it worked well, and people were hoping that they wouldn't go back and fix it, but they did. So I am disappointed. Like, it was very clearly a bug. It wasn't meant to work that way, but I kind of wished after they'd seen how much people were enjoying it that they'd just leave it alone or release a new item that is the same thing.
Right. That sounds like fun, actually. Yeah. I would totally, if it was the right effect for the right character, I would completely add that and love it.
Yeah, they have one coming up for the new packs that's a trooper armor, and it's a white trooper armor with an orange glowy bits and pieces, and when you draw out your armor, it makes like a technical scan spin around your body, and I think that would look super cool on a bunch of my PvE armors that I have, but I don't want to wear the cartel market armor, but I want the effect.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, like when they first introduced other animations and things, they're obviously really popular. So I would think that they will maybe introduce one later where it's intentional, because they know stuff like this sells really. I think they know it sells really well in the cartel market. It helps to sell hypercrates, and they want that. So let's hope that they're going to reintroduce it as a real thing.
I think one of the problems that it introduces the possibility for a lot of clipping. So, for example, if I got that trooper armor where the technical sand spins around you, and then I decide to pick my bulkiest, heaviest armor, and you can't see it because it's all inside my chest piece, then people would be really cranky about it. They wouldn't be able to offer a lot of guarantees, but they don't offer guarantees with Twi'lek helmets either, so maybe it's okay.
Yeah, true. Come on.
Like, use at your own risk.
This almost sounds like one of those bugs that could turn into something real in the game, so they probably need some time to actually work on it and make sure it's not actually buggy.
I know this is one of the few things I'd be willing to pay cartel coins for, because I haven't bought much from the cartel market lately, especially for armor, because there's nothing new. Like, I have so many millions of armors that I don't really need any new stuff, but I don't have any armor animations, so hey, put in cartel market, I'll pay for it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, Teresa, are you going to be buying a Togruta?
I can't decide. I have a lot of characters, and I'm not so oh my god about the Togruta, but I've got a lot of guildmates who are super excited about it, so I might make one just for the hype. I still haven't bothered making a Cathar, but they aren't nearly as cool. Sorry, Cathar lovers.
I'm with you on that.
We should probably make a bet now as to whether we're going to have clipping issues on the Togruta, because they never fixed the.
That's not
toilets.
betting. That's making calculated decisions in your favor.
Yeah, that's what betting is. True.
All right. Dunadaya wrote, for those curious as to how we end up frozen in coffee, and then he has a picture of Fry getting himself frozen from the pilot episode, Space Pilot 3000, for Futurama. I actually have a drawing. Yeah, it's a 1-in-1. I have a drawing from the pilot of Futurama, so I love that episode. So
cool.
Yeah. Let's see. Kuze's SWTOR rumors.
Now, let's just preface this with, these are not real. He did just make these up. These aren't rumors. He's just stirring the pot.
He read them on Reddit.
Right. Updates to the old space missions coming soon.
Oh.
Very unlikely. And did you hear that Chill and Chuck are going to have a Star Wars rap battle at the end of this month?
My money's on Chuck.
It down.
I think so, because I've never actually tried to rap, so it would probably end badly. It would probably end up like all those jokes, about the white guy rapping.
No, you're probably an excellent rapper. As is Chuck, I'm sure.
Between you and Chuck, you can work something out. Sure.
Yeah.
You can script it. It doesn't have to be freestyle.
Okay. Let's see. Kuze writes, I heard they're adding a full Cantina Band deco for Strongholds and also a Hut NPC.
That's actually not a bad idea.
Those both could happen, and both would be awesome.
Go put that on the decorations thread where you can make suggestions. They might actually do that. Like the hut sounds really cool. Just put in a large hook and the band sell on the cartel market for 20,000 coins, and you're good to go.
That would be fun, actually. Especially if it had like a clickable where it would actually start the band up and play the music.
Oh, yes, that'd be cool.
Did you guys hear that they're making ambient sound decorations? Such a reminder found this one. Data mined. You apparently put a little note on the wall and there's ambient sounds like bird song.
You're kidding.
That sounds cool.
Yeah, it sounds really nice.
Oh, that sounds awesome.
They've gotten more clever with the decorations recently. Like when I'm watching Kranitoko's videos, like even ones that don't seem like they would have anything special about them, but then he puts it down and then it turns out there's something clickable on it and it'll actually do something.
One of my
really
favorite
neat.
ones like that is there's a Jedi temple
The
archive.
Jedi table?
Yeah, the
the
Jedi
archive.
table too. Yeah,
The
there's
table is good too. Yeah, the archive with the looks like it looks like the stacks in that one episode in episode 2, I think it is.
Yeah, it just looks like a library on the wall, but your character can actually go up, right-click, and you put your finger out, and it gives you a cast bar that says researching.
Yep. Nothing actually happens, but it's fun. And then the Jedi table has like you click on it, it gives a little hologram. It's very nice.
Yeah, let's hope that's the direction they're going to keep going. And the ambient sound thing sounds awesome. I'm really excited. But whenever you go to a friend's stronghold, that's the stuff you want to see is the fun, interactable type stuff.
The recent Revanite pack didn't have nearly as much. As far as I can tell, there was only the fire that you could interact with. You can light it. It's actually pretty cool.
That is cool.
That is cool.
Kuze's further rumors include new SWTOR MOBA coming soon. That one's just for Tio, I think. And Kefis is the new companion. So there you go.
Yes.
Wouldn't that be a turnaround?
Is that the part where you get to kill your own companions? You get to kill Kefis again?
Yeah, exactly.
Again, yeah.
It is a bit of a downgrade for Kefis, isn't he? From boss to a mere companion sent out on crew missions, you know?
Well, you can kind of have him because you can have
Really? Light side diplomacy? Thanks.
You can have the consular companion skin from the end of Nightmare ODC, can't you? For Kaizen?
There you go.
Yeah. You can, and he speaks the same way, right? Only it's like modulated. True.
All right. That will bring us to the Sarlacc Digest, where we go over the issues for 1,000 years, or until we run out of time. And Tio, you're going to take us through the latest news on the Coffee expansion, Knights of the Fallen Empire.
Yay, coffee. All right,
Is that what we're calling it now? Coffee? It's just like COFFE? Has the
or
community
coffee if you
it.
want. But
You can do Kotfee, but it's a little awkward. Coffee
so
is a
we
little
just say
smoother.
coffee. Knights of the Fallen Empire. Anyway, what appears to have happened is that probably at E3 they had a behind closed doors viewing with all of the developers and selected press where they could actually see the intro mission to Knights of the Fallen Empire, playing as the Outlander, waking up from Carbonite, and various outlets have subsequently, maybe it was embargoed, released in the last few days these articles about what they saw. So it's, I guess you could say it's a little bit spoilerific, but not really, because it's effectively the opening scenes. I won't go into the details of the stuff that branches, but anyway, there's some details here we can talk about it. But before that, on SWTOR's Twitter account, they have put out a couple of images, and probably on Instagram and Facebook as well. The first is a Zakul skyscraper city view, or concept art for it. Now, this is Zakul is apparently the planet, or the home planet of the Zakul of the Infinite Empire, maybe, or the Eternal Empire, maybe. We know about the Zakul warriors. What were they called? Zakul something.
Knights.
The Zakul Knights.
I think.
So clearly Zakul is a thing and is pretty important for the Eternal Empire. And they had some words on the image. I forged the empire of Zakul to surmount all of my previous works. It will span eternity. And that was from Emperor Valkorion, the Infinite Emperor. Now, perhaps even more interesting, there was another concept piece of art. This looks like in-game footage, and the wording goes, and this is actually a scene from the opening, apparently, according to one of those articles, and the wording on it is, "The Sith Empire and Galactic Republic have fallen. The Jedi and Sith have retreated to their temples."
Cool.
So we got the
Sounds
impression...
so
On
epic.
the skyscraper one, Tio, is that Orabesh? On the skyscraper near the bottom, near that red sign or whatever it is?
I looked at that too, and I didn't think so.
Okay. Well, it's almost like Orabesh, but it's a little funky. I
Yeah.
can't tell. Okay.
So this latest thing implies that I thought the Empire and the Republic had been sort of beaten back, but it sounds like they're really in shambles. So assuming all of this has happened, it makes you really wonder just what about the Republic and the Imperial fleets? Are they still a thing? Are they where they were? What about Coruscant? What about Drummond Cast? What about all the planets? What's going to happen to the rest of the galaxy?
Right.
What's
all of
going to
these
happen
events
to my
unfolded?
strongholds?
Indeed.
They're going to stay on the other server. That's what.
Oh,
So it's kind of, I'm really curious how they're going to make this work.
Yeah, like
Uh,
instanced planets, or like two versions
Phasing.
of each planet.
I don't know. Because technically, shouldn't Tython be all smashed up? Because in the Tython Flashpoint, it's got
Right.
a whole bunch of statues crashed and half the banners
Oh.
are on the floor. It's got
But
huge
they-
chunks missing.
They fixed it. It's like the Star Trek
yeah.
episodes where the ship gets absolutely trashed, and then by the next episode, it's all completely repaired. It's all pristine.
I have a feeling they'll just leave Tython alone, and there will be some other different special Tython where it's all destroyed, if they even bother going back to the old ones at all,
Yeah.
in just
This
like
is-
open world.
It's a real problem with MMOs. We've seen it in any of them, really, where you're playing through a story which happens at a certain place in time, and then when subsequent events in the timeline drastically affect the previous ones, what do? You could certainly do what they did in WoW with their Cataclysm expansion. You change everything, so even new players going through the old stories, they've all been adjusted somewhat.
That'd be kind of cool, actually, but a lot of work to go back
Exactly.
and change all the old stuff.
Right.
They did confirm during one of the interviews that they are not introducing phasing. So there won't be two versions of the old planets, even though that is definitely a possibility, because again, that would be a lot of work, as would just going back and changing them for everyone. I had a couple of comments from the community talk about. Jason W. said, just listen to episode 210, makes me think of the combat upgrade in Star Wars Galaxies. I know it's totally different, but what that one patch did to change everything, which is the one I believe where they made it really easy to become a Jedi, whereas prior to that it was really hard. And yeah, they took away they made it more like a traditional MMO, whereas Star Wars Galaxies was originally very specialized in the way you could have any character could have all these somewhat esoteric professions like
I don't think this
Dancer.
patch will change too much of the past content. We'll be sad because we'll be getting different stuff in the future, or we'll be happy, we don't know. But in the past stuff that we've done, like leveling, it was already ridiculously easy with 12x XP, and that didn't seem to have ruined it for anybody, and lots of people enjoyed it, including people brand new to the game who didn't want to do the grind, and that's one of the reasons they avoided it. So I don't think it will be anywhere near as game-breaking as Star Wars Galaxies changes were.
I'd agree, given what I've heard about that. It's just going to be another expansion that just happens to be more story, single-player focused. Whether that's enough of a change to drive people away or bring in more people, who knows. Dark Edge Gaming says, I loved Mass Effect, but I don't think I want to play it again in the SWTOR universe. That's quite an insightful comment when you think about it, because it appears that Mass Effect was one of the things that inspired them for the expansion, the story in the expansion, and, well, we'll get to it, but the single-player focus in Coffee is very, very clear. Now, Swoderista, this is from a reply you made on Reddit in response to why did why do they call them your character, the Outlander, in the story?
Right, so last episode, there's a discussion going on. It wasn't specifically like why the Outlander, why not the Potato Man. It was more like why are we referring to all of these class stories as the same type of title? And my response was, I think this is like the Exile in KOTOR 2, just a name for the hero of the story. For example, in wiki articles, the Consular is referred to as the Barcendor. It helps with the concept of how everyone has their own personal experience, but still has the same canonical storyline as everyone else.
Which is the key point, as Turk pointed out, and as Andrew from SWTOR Economics tweeted at me. I think this article has some bad news for you. The Turk was right, I think. And this article was a commentary from MMORPG.com. And what the guy who wrote the article said was, now some of you might have been hoping for more class stories, and BioWare knows that's still something folks want. But let's face it, doing individual stories for each class would take considerably more time, resources, and money to do correctly. I think we can expect that the class stories are forever going to be the original vanilla SWTOR's focus, and that from here on out we're going to get more game-spanning stories that recreate the feel and scope of the stories we get from the movies and TV shows. Yes, that is pretty much it. And also in the article, the writer's personal opinion is that SWTOR's strength has always been its story. It's an MMORPG that has fun group content, but its best bits have been the more single-player stories. And that seems to be what BioWare has noticed as well. There's nothing wrong with catering to your niche, and in the year of Star Wars, the best bits of non-movie story may indeed come from BioWare, just as they always have. Which is great. But if you like the MMO bits, as the BioWare guys have referred to them previously, that's not going to help you too much.
The MM parts.
Exactly.
Yeah, they keep referring to their bits, which is disturbing. Their bits. Okay, well, we heard about your bits. The SWTOR Economics interview is really good, so I definitely recommend everybody read it, and glad you brought that to you. And I was going to say, SWTORista, what you said just before that, you're calling out of the Exile from KOTOR 2. That's the other thing that made me think of, that's a really cool point, because think about what they did with Revan, which of course used to be the character, that was your character, and then it became a character in the story later. The Exile was your character, and guess what? The Exile became a character in Vanilla SWTOR. So it could be that, yeah, like you're saying, that it sort of implies that the Outlander will become like that same level of a character, even though we're going to play as the Outlander, that in the distant future of this story, which has gone for a long time now, that the Outlander is just another character in the whole big story. And by that point,
are you inferring we're going to become Revan?
Oh, spoilers!
Sorry, plot twist.
Spoiler alert for 2001 or 2002. I don't know. I just think it's an interesting pattern. This is obviously a BioWare pattern. The player character evolves into just another character, and this would be the third time that they've done it, I guess. Or if you count the Barcendor, I don't know. I mean, the Outlander might just become another NPC character in the distant future. Who knows?
All right. Now, in terms of that behind closed door stuff, Lady Insanity, who does various gaming YouTube videos, has done one where she walked through what she saw. So there are some spoilers in there for what's coming up in at least the opening sequence for Knights of the Fallen Empire, and which leads to a comment from Palace in chat. It feels like they are hyping the story in hopes of pulling in the non-SWTOR playing BioWare fans from Dragon Age and Mass Effect, which Lady Insanity certainly counts as that, which is interesting.
Well, we do know that SWTOR seemed to have pulled in a lot of people who hadn't played MMOs before. I can say that from personal experience. This was many of my guildmates' first MMO, and the only reason they touched it was because Star Wars. And if they're hyping because Star Wars, they might be able to catch some of the market. And I've heard around here and there that the MMO market in general is declining. And what do you do if the market itself is going away? You find a new demographic to sell to, and I think they might have found it. I can see if I wasn't playing SWTOR already and I saw this cool stuff, and having played like KOTOR in the past and many of the Jedi Knight games in the past, I'd be like, oh, I should try that out. What's an MMO? Doesn't matter.
We've heard that a lot.
That's
It's
right.
in SWTOR's people's first MMO for exactly that reason. Because Star Wars. Yeah. And, well,
So they're
we'll
just
see how
gonna
many people
redefine-
come. We'll see.
They just redefine it as a they aren't officially redefining it, but they're unofficially redefining the genre of the game, I guess.
As Dekion says, as Dark Edge Gaming says, calling your character the Shepherd would have been too obvious.
Hey,
As
Fem Shep Trooper. I'm going to be playing that Day 1 expansion. I'm playing Mass Effect Star Wars. Maybe you aren't.
I did want to mention in passing something Yvonne wrote a few weeks ago. His feeling was that companions need to be reintroduced to the story in a big way. And geez, did you get that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you pretty much called it, actually, because you noticed that they were getting the companion actors back in to record a few lines.
I guess
So-
that's when they. Yeah. Do you think they recorded it that long ago? That was like months ago.
Yeah,
Yes, you're right.
They've known about this for a long time.
True.
Oh yeah.
So it wasn't
Story.
just. So they must have recorded this stuff while they were recording Shadow of Revan, because if you pull out Alara Dorn and she says 2 things in all of Shadow of Revan. So do you think they recorded her dialogue for Fallen Empire way back then?
Possible. Yes.
Possible.
Yeah. Don't know for
And
sure,
maybe
but
this is a shout out to Zamzam, who wrote that awesome blog a couple months ago, about Lord Scourge. Maybe they fixed that too.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he finally does come into the story again.
it'd be
A
nice.
little late for Revan.
All right, just a couple more articles to cover. This time from IGN. 11 things you need to know about Star Wars: The Old Republic's expansion. They call it a return to form. I won't go through the full 11 because a lot of it's stuff we already know. But the ones I wanted to call out was, firstly, the 5th one, newcomers shouldn't feel overwhelmed with a level 60 character. BioWare's tutorial for the expansion doles out abilities in pieces. Since this is a centric game, what's that mean? You'll have time to soak in the cinematics and learn your way around your hero before continuing into the world. The developer aims for everyone to be able to jump in without fear of overwhelming MMO complexities. So that's implying that it's like what I immediately thought of was the Death Knight tutorial, effectively in World of Warcraft, which is a hero class that starts at whatever level it started at, 55.
Right.
Where you get a high level character and they dole out the abilities over time as part of the intro, which lasts for not too long, but you get your various abilities as you go, and is a sort of way of learning quickly all of the new things to do with your class. So maybe they're going to do it like that. We've had no hints of this elsewhere, but that'd be kind of cool. So if you brand new to the game, you take an Insta 60, you are given a bit of an intro and you get the abilities over time.
I hope
Slightly.
they really do. I already feel confused enough when I go on a character I haven't played in a long time and they're level 60 and have so many abilities, and I don't even know which ones are important, and I'm just daunted to even touch it and learn that rotation. It would be nice if you start with just a couple so you know at least what they do first and get them over time like you do originally.
Yeah, I feel like right now, whenever I log over to a character I haven't played in a couple months, which happens all the time, yeah, I feel like every time I play that character, I have to go back to Delphi and remind myself how the character works now, what its rotation is now, because I just don't play enough, I guess. Clearly, apparently I don't play enough. What? Thought I played too much, but anyway.
Now, point 7, Knights of the Fallen Empire is a single-player story. While BioWare's MMO certainly retains multiplayer elements, that is first and foremost a story about you, the Outlander's tale is specific and told in a different way than previous SWTOR stories. The main goal, BioWare told IGN, is to achieve the dream people had with SWTOR in the beginning. Basically, the team wants this to feel as close to the original Knights of the Old Republic as possible.
KOTOR 3!
Well, in theory, that's what Shadow of Revan should have been, but...
Yeah.
Never mind.
Yeah.
Sure.
So anyway, it's what we're hearing from every side now. SWTOR is very much becoming a single-player game.
Well,
With some MMO bits.
the idea of KOTOR 3. Remember, I'm sure we all remember that when the game was before the game was launched, that they described the old Republic as KOTOR 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
of the 8 class stories, which is it
So
really
KOTOR 4?
kind of was. Yeah, so we'll call this KOTOR 4. But Tio, I'm also actually really encouraged by that because they are saying, is the way I read it, they are saying from what you just quoted, and I read this earlier this week, they are saying that multiplayer is going to be part of Knights of the Fallen Empire, and that it will be part of the forthcoming chapters. So I'm going to guess that they mean to say that within chapters 1 through 9, there's no multiplayer, but that part of the chapter 10, 11, 12, that something like an operation. I'm going to guess that a single-player operation with a hard mode 8-player and hard mode 16-player version, where they're going to do something with operations, so they're like tactical operations, so that they're part of the story. Because I would have much rather done that in Shadow of Revan, where if you could just play the operation as a story, and then you go back and have your hardmare or your hard mode and nightmare versions of multiplayer versions of that, so that you can still experience it as a story thing. Then you go back for the gear and the multiplayer content, or they're going to insert flashpoints, in the story like they have before.
Hyperspace Beacon in our Twitch chat was asking when are they going to add the multiplayer content, and what you're saying makes a hell of a lot of sense. They haven't said when. The only implication is not this year, and they're getting the new episodes in early 2016. They said so. Hell, you could be right. Oh, by the way, we were frozen in carbonite for 5 years. Apparently, that was confirmed again during one of these interviews. It's been sort of a few years. Anyway, 5 years is how long we were out of it.
Like a really weak Deus Ex Machina, I don't know, storytelling device or whatever you're going to call it. It's a bad device, but let's just hope that it's going to pay off with the flashbacks, learning what happened to it. But I'm not excited about that concept.
So we know waking up from a deep sleep and you don't remember a lot is very cliche and not a good option. But if they wanted to skip ahead 5 years and they're already set on that concept, what would be another good way to do that?
I guess time travel's out.
Or why
go through a wormhole?
Why? Yeah, exactly. Why skip ahead and not go all the way to like the Force Awakens era so we can have a tie-in? I mean, I'm saying why skip ahead? Why skip ahead? It's like I don't understand it. What's the point?
I'm guessing they don't want to show the slow decline of the Republic and the Empire because your superhero character would stop that, obviously, with their magic powers.
Yeah.
I was actually going to say 5 years is incredibly quick for the Republic to fall.
Yeah, they caused some damage.
These cool guys must be nasty.
Yeah.
All right, just a couple more. The 10th thing you need to know is multiplayer is changing. BioWare wasn't ready to share details about how multiplayer will work in Knights of the Fallen Empire, but we do know it won't use the system we see in the game now, 2 players sharing dialogue choices and cutscenes. BioWare told IGN we're not abandoning the MMO aspect. We'll be talking about that later on. There's a whole system that is introduced through 9 episodes that hooks up into all the multiplayer aspects of the game.
This one drives me nuts because they mention MMO, and when I think MMO activities, I think pay-by-pay, operations, social events, stuff I do in the open world with lots of people. But then they start mentioning dialogue, and that's something I do with like 2 people at a time, and not really MMO stuff, maybe like co-player stuff. And I'm really hoping that they mean there's going to be more MMO stuff going on. They just happen to also mention they're changing the dialogue system.
Yeah.
Don't know.
Yeah,
Okay.
They really
let's,
need on that one.
we'll just have to wait. The reporters could easily be misinterpreting as well. Maybe.
Well,
And finally,
another
this last point is important. Your new level 60 characters cannot play old story missions, so you can't go back and do your original class story. So when you start at 60, all of that stuff is effectively part of your background. So that's a bit sad, actually, in some
You
ways.
turned to your dark side, no choice in the matter.
Who knows? I mean, to make that work, does that imply you do lose all your companions? But what about your previous relations with them that you built up through your class stories?
I think you do lose them. You start out with none, or you start out with Nico, and your choices have to do with which ones you're going to get back, and you still have a limit of 5 or 6. and you have to pick which ones you're gonna like abandon, which ones you're gonna go save.
I'm very curious about what happens with your romances. So let's say I'm on the Lady Trooper and I romance up Eric Jorgen, and then the expansion, obviously, I'm going to go find him again and we're still going to be in love. But what if I make a brand new Trooper Lady? Will we have no option of romancing Eric Jorgen because we didn't do it before? Or will it give you a bunch of preset options like, you were light side, you married Eric Jorgen, you did so-and-so with Jaxo? I'm very curious to see which one they choose. If they picked preset variables or kind of let you choose afterwards some of the basic ones, or they just, you have nothing.
I think the answer is that, I think the answer is if you roll a new Outlander 60, that none of that ever happened. And that if you, it sounds like I'm pretty sure that if you bring your old trooper who married Eric Jorgen or Alara, that they are going to remember that, and that will be part of the story. And now that kind of makes me start to understand why they couldn't do 8 class stories, because if they're doing it that way, that is a ton of companion content that they had to create to allow for all that branching. So that starts to make me, I still don't know if this is the right direction, but I think that could be the answer.
They almost have to have 3 options for every choice. Either you married Eric, you didn't marry Eric, or you didn't even really talk to Eric at all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It seems like a lot of work, and that's why I'm guessing they're probably going to go with the preset variables, even though it'll be a little less fun and believable that way.
Or just preset period without variables.
All right, one more article. We're just running long on time, so let's just quickly wrap this up. Last article was from Shack News, and again, it's covering a lot of the same stuff about what was revealed in the demo with a few errors reading through it. But what they finished was, at the moment, Knights of the Fallen Empire appears to follow the example of Shadow of Revan and infuse more story elements with an emphasis on consequential decisions. I don't think we got that in Shadow of Revan. It was pretty traditional, or pretty much the same style as everything else we'd had so far, I thought. Now, finally, one interesting thing to point out is that while BioWare Austin is placing a far greater emphasis on single-player story content, it is not forsaking the idea of the Old Republic as an MMORPG. Multi-person raids and PvP remain a pivotal part of the experience, but the studio is looking at events like Knights of the Fallen Empire as a way to fulfill player demand for single-player story, with real BioWare-like choices and consequences. Much like a Jedi with the Force, BioWare Austin seeks balance, with the Old Republic's MMO experience offering enough of the genre's elements for multiplayer users, while offering also enough of a worthwhile single-player story for those that desire it. So you could read that a couple of ways, in that we've had all this MMO stuff, all the MMO bits leading up to now, and now they're going to provide all the single-player stuff for a while, which means no MMO bits, but that they're still balancing in it, and so that multiplayer stuff will be back. It's just they need to get this single-player stuff out of their system. At least that's my way of thinking about it. And finally, Tiadra says, hi, this is Tiadra once again from the Utini Knights Guild. I wanted to get your all's thoughts on this because I've heard a lot of speculation and groaning about how we've yet another immortal emperor who has been hiding out and suddenly appearing. We already have one emperor who is immortal, and how it seems a bit ridiculous. I think, however, that people are misinterpreting this. I personally do not believe that they are saying that Valkorion is immortal. I think it is more of a title which ties into the Eternal Throne and the Eternal Empire. That would also seem to be made clear in the fact that in the trailer he clearly ages as the children grows from infants to adulthood. Further, why would he need an heir to his throne if he was truly immortal? I think it is a very different situation than we see with Vitiate. And excellent points. Yeah, I got to admit, I assumed it was just a title, Infinite Emperor. They say things like that. Even now, people call themselves all kinds of crazy things. So, yes. Vitiate's the only one who's using life-sucking from planet technology to, or the Force or whatever, to make himself live forever. Of course, is Valkorion actually Vitiate? They're dropping all kinds of hints that it's something like that. Geez, I hope not. But
yeah.
Was it Valkorion all along? Who knows?
Yeah, they haven't tied up the Vitiate story yet, so
yeah.
Right.
I mean,
I kind of feel like. Oh,
Yeah,
sorry.
Sios did not tie it up, so
No, not even a little bit.
It's got to get tied up. I mean, yeah. Will it happen in a 3.4? I guess not. I guess we'd already know if it was going to.
Well, they still may. There is time because we got the 4 months ish. So a month
Think they're
later
making
we'll have
content between now and coffee.
Mm.
I
well
don't think so.
3.3 in a month, and then roughly 3 months until the expansion. Yeah, you're right. There's just not enough time. So it gets wrapped up as part of the. Maybe that's why we ended up in Carbonite.
The Emperor winds up in Carbonite too, so he's dealt with. He's in character.
well, he
Or just
doesn't have to
defrost
be.
him afterwards, after the this thing is finished up.
It just seems like it would have been so much cooler if at least at the end of Ziost, we have a huge battle with him, and instead of ending like every other battle, like he
kills
like,
us all.
he leans over holding his side. No, but yeah, instead he grabs you and throws you in carbonite, and that's how it ends. It's like a cliffhanger. I kind of wish we'd gotten that
Yeah.
cliffhanger or something. We did get a cliffhanger, but I'm just saying they just didn't wrap up anything.
Zamzam, Rachel has been on a previous show, has done a really good article about going deep into the lore about everything that's revealed so far. It gets a little spoilerific for us. So what we're going to do is, with various people, including Zamzam, we're going to have a spoiler cast in the next 2 or 3 weeks, where we're going to explore everything that happened in Shadow of Revan and everything we know so far, and speculate wildly, as we tend to do on these things, about what's going to come up, and it'll be spoiler heavy, so we'll save it for that. So that should be interesting.
Great. The Revan one was awesome.
Yes, a lot of work, but they're definitely worth it. All right, any final thoughts before we wrap up?
They're definitely going to be. They're certainly walking a tightrope, because if as far as between multiplayer and single player, because it still at this point feels like it's like the multiplayer is just being pushed off for an unknown amount of time. So how long they can just stick with the single player is a little up for debate in my mind, but I definitely want to see another operation as soon as we can. It'd be. I just don't know. It doesn't seem like it's going to happen anytime soon. So
Hopefully with the next expansion and with the movie coming out soon, we'll get enough action, subscriptions, and money in the game that they'll believe that it's worth investing in both 2 different teams at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, we do have precedent for this, because we had one team who did GSF, and then we had the same team go on and do Strongholds. So we do have precedent for there being a period of time where a large group of employees were dedicated to X task, and as soon as they wrapped up that task, they went back to something else. So they've alternated. So yeah, the next thing on the list is probably PvP, right? And then operations. At least that's how it seems.
All right, well, we'll see. All these things will be revealed slowly over time as we head towards 27 October and Knights of the Fallen Empire.
Stoked.
All right, that's a show. If you'd like to play with us in the Utini Knights Guild on the Republic side of the Harbinger server, or in our guild on the Empire side, do a /C join Utini to join the Utini channel. Then ask for the quiz that lets us know you're a fan of the show. You can email questions and comments about the show to utinicast@gmail.com. Follow us on Twitter using @utinicast. You can find contact details for all of us on our website, utinicast.com, which includes how to subscribe to us using iTunes, Stitcher, and the rest. We record the show live every Wednesday at 4:30 p.m. Pacific. Go to utinicast.com/live to find out how to join in. Our theme song is from Mevio's Musicality. Check it out at music.mevio.com. That's MEVIO. And thank you to the chat room, and thank you, Switarista and Ivalon.
See you later.
Thanks, guys. It was fun.
And we'll see you next week.
All right, keep recording, guys. Sweaterista, do you want to do an Utini range?
Oh, absolutely not. No.
Oh, come on, we want a female one.
You
Oh,
guys
okay.
Samsam
do
didn't
it.
do one either, so we need you to do one.
Quiet on
Alright,
set.
here goes. Utini Rage.
Yes.
Well, it's different. All right.
Excellent.
If you want to have another go, you can. Let's do it while we're off camera. guys, thank you for watching. We'll be back next week. That spoiler cast I mentioned will be coming soonish. Yeah, have a great week. Thank you for watching.
Bye.
Stopping the broadcast.